Good evening, good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Feel free to be seated. I'm going to start this evening with a proclamation for National Night Out. It is my honor to present a proclamation, National Night Out, to Chief Ashton. Whereas National Association of Town Watch, NATW, sponsors a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program entitled National Night Out, and whereas National Night Out is a national community building campaign that is a great opportunity for law enforcement and citizens to partner up against crime. And whereas National Night Out promotes police community partnerships, enhancing relationships between neighbors and law enforcement while bringing back a true sense of community. Whereas Meadows Place Police Department plays a vital role in assisting Fort Bend County through a joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in Meadows Place, and whereas it is essential that all citizens of Meadows Place be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Meadows Place. And now, therefore, I, Audrey St. Germain, do hereby invite the residents of Meadows Place to join the Meadows Place Police Department and millions of Texans in supporting the 2026 National Night Out on October 6th, and do hereby proclaim Tuesday, October 6th, as National Night Out in Meadows Place, Texas. And that leads us straight into our agenda item on reports. We're going to start with our police department with Interim Police Chief Jack Ashton.
Mayor, council, citizens, thank you for having me. So looking at your packet, the first thing that you will notice is it feels a little bit thinner and lighter. We decided to start printing on both sides of the paper for that. And also this is a half of a reporting period from last council meeting to this one. As we look at your spreadsheet on top, the number of reportable accidents were 3, number of arrests 4, number of calls for service 1,701, number of reports 20, traffic citations issued for traffic 156 for 227 charges, no citations issued for city ordinance violations. Warnings issued for traffic, 89 for 106 charges, and 4 warning citations issued for city ordinance violations, which gives us a 2-week, a little over 2-week activity count, 2,310 incidences of activity. As we continue on a breakdown of the activity, we had 2 reported assaults, 0 burglary of motor vehicle, 0 burglary of a residence, burglary of a business. We had 0 burglary of residence. We had 1. The city ordinance contacts, we had a total of 4. Criminal mischief, 0. Fraud or forgery, 0. Robbery, 0. Total property check count, 1,877. Thefts, we had 4 reported. Unauthorized use of motor vehicle, we had 0. In the TLC program, we had 8 to fail, 27 to, I think I have that backwards. 27 should be to pass and 8 to fail, for a total contact of 35. And then down in the notes section, the reporting period from July 29th to August 17th, a breakdown of the city ordinance warnings, that we have 4 for solicitor, 1 for junk vehicle, no citations issued. We worked 2 traffic hotspots for 4 citations in the area. As we move into the packet itself, I believe Chief Stewart was in the habit of slowly turning the page to get to the pertinent information in the back of the packet. If we go to page 3, so we have our flock alerts that we had for the reporting period. 45, 0 were stolen vehicle alerts, which is a little misleading because I'm going to talk about the one that we just had on Sunday, that for the stolen vehicle. Sex offender alerts, we had 10. 6 hits were of 2 vehicles, 2 repeat vehicles. Stolen plates, we had 12 alerts. Gang or suspected terrorist alerts, 1. Missing person, 0. Warrants, 0. Protection order alerts, 12. 8 were from 4 repeat vehicles. Other agency hot list, we had 8. Violent persons, we had 2. As we continued down the page, we have incidents where flock was utilized. After receiving a flock hit for a violent person, Officer Melanson checked and found the registered owner showed to have a warrant. So here we have a flock alert. Officer Melanson found the vehicle and conducted a stop, confirmed the warrant through Harris County. They were arrested and taken to the jail. We will flip over to page 4. That this is another agency investigation. After receiving a flock hit for jugging, which is what we've had to happen at the convenience stores, where they come up beside the car and they take whatever from the car. So this was put in by Missouri City as a potential suspect. Officer Richmond located the vehicle, developed his own probable cause to stop the vehicle, which was for a license plate violation, and issued a citation for that, but also was able to clearly identify and ascertain the personal information of the suspect and it be forwarded to Missouri City to help them. The next one is the listed as UUMV, unauthorized use of motor vehicle and evading. This is what we had on Sunday, where again, Officer Richmond with Officer Blade were riding as a 2-man unit. They got the flock hit, located the vehicle, attempted to stop the vehicle. It drove through the city. We circled around from West Airport to Derry Ashford, back to Dorrance, and then back to Mulholland, and finally got them stopped at Mulholland and Meadowcrest. Jumped out, ran. The officers gave chase and were able to tase and detain the suspect. From there, they were, of course, treated by EMS because we did deploy the taser, and they were taken to Fort Bend County Jail. So it was a good job on many fronts. The fact that they got the flock alert, they were able to find the car to follow up on that, And then when they bailed out of the car and ran, they gave chase and were able to catch them. Continuing through our arrest, we just talked about a couple of them. There was a arrest, Class C assault, where two people were arguing, a dispute between neighbors. One threw a box at the other one, who in turn squirted the other one with water. So we have simple assault on both of them. And turning over to page 5, we're looking at another flock hit, which was the one we covered earlier, where Officer Melanson got the flock alert, found the vehicle, developed her probable cause to stop, confirmed the warrant, and took the bad guy to jail. And the last one, the UUMV and evading, is what we were just talking about, that where Officer Richmond and Officer Blade found the vehicle and gave chase. You're on the back page, page 6, are the additional notes. Officer Blade and Officer Gamez are progressing through the program swiftly. Both of them have prior experience, so it is helping to expedite them through the program, and they seem to be doing well. We have 2 applicants that are in background. That one of them is the recruit who is in the academy that graduates next month, that we have been talking to off and on and are looking forward to getting the return. We're using the Texas background investigators to complete the background because they are cleared to do a TCOLE compliant background investigation, and they have a team of investigators, so they shortened the time up significantly for us. Accreditation, the update is all of our mandated training that was holding us up has been completed and has been submitted. All of our proofs have been submitted to the accreditation board. Once they approve that, then they will schedule our on-site audit, and from there we will get approved. We're not even going to discuss if we don't get approved. And then we will be scheduling a council meeting, to attend a council meeting for them to do the formal presentation of our accreditation. And from there, let's see, Jimmy, if you don't mind standing up, please, Grandpa. That Miss Jackie, we would like to recognize the grandpa of our newest rookie, his granddaughter, that joined us a couple of weeks ago. Am I right, Jimmy?
Yeah, Sunday, so a week and 1 day.
Week and 1 day. So good job, and let us know if you need more of the kit.
Thank you very, very much.
Let's see, continuing through our list, Team MPPD is proud to share that Officer Chand has successfully graduated with her bachelor's degree and is just spurring on the others. So it's a big deal whenever the officers take time to invest in themselves. So if we could give her a little atta-girl as well. Right behind her, we've got 3 or 4 more others. Let's see, our team was out in full force, opening of school. Hopefully everybody saw at least one officer out there riding around. The officers were trying to be very friendly and remind everybody about the school zone. And some they had to stop and talk to. A few they had to stop, talk to, and issue them a coupon. So, but we also had quite a few stops for scooters that, Amblewood and Dorrance, that we were acting as the crossing guard temporarily. So the officers firsthand were able to observe some violations both by youngsters and parents, and to make them aware of the rules and regulations for that. And the mayor was kind enough to recognize National Night Out and the Meadows Place Police Department. And yes, we are open and taking, I should be looking out here, open and taking reservations. If you're planning to have a party, please let us know. If you know someone is, pass along for them to reach out. They can call the main number, 2900 number, and Lee will take their information. And I believe the lieutenant has a list from last year that will be following up on those that have previously had parties. And that concludes the report.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Chief Ashton? Thank you, sir. The next report we'll be receiving is from Code Enforcement with Chelsea Thomas.
Good afternoon. I would like to start off saying I appreciate every one of you on the council and everyone that worked with me that sent their condolences, for me. I would like to say I am very thankful and I'm very appreciative. Okay, now that's over. Into my report, I have here, we have 12303 Austin Street. We did get some groundway with that property. At this time, the for sale sign is not in the yard anymore, but on the county clerk office records, they don't show a sale for the property as of yet, so I'm not sure if one is in process and getting ready to close, but something is moving with that property. Also, we have been kind of honing in on clearance, tree clearance right now throughout the entirety of the city. We have been getting good feedback from that. A lot of people have been trimming back trees and doing what they are needing to do to make sure that we are able to see street signs and stop signs. The property located on Brighting and Bloomington, I know that was an issue with their tree. As of right now, we did find out some information about that resident, so I kind of took a step back from forcibly enforcing, and I did find a son with the help of Jackie. Jackie helped me find a representative for that property, so I am trying to make contact with that representative for that family to see if we can get anything done with that property. I know the last council meeting I was at that we discussed not that trailers and RVs was technically not a violation, but I did come up with like a courtesy form notice to say, just ask, hey, can you ensure that you are not, having this here for more than 30 days? With some residents, with the courtesy notice, I have been getting good feedback that they do like it. They, do understand that we are trying to keep the community a certain way. If you guys look at the packet that I gave you, the last two letters on the back, those are, the first one is the courtesy for our backyards. I have been getting a lot of complaints about people's backyards, the overgrowth, and just people not maintaining their backyards. Being as though I'm code enforcement, I can only do private property where the mailman goes, so I can't go in the backyard. But I did draft something to ask them to, take care of the backyard. I did entrust our IPMC that we did adopt in 2015. I used some things from our IPMC to kind of, give us a guideline to how we can track their backyard and things of that nature. We'll see how that works. I don't know, if they will respond, but it's just asking them and reminding them to, hey, we have to maintain our backyards as well as our front yard. As well, the next form, the last courtesy notice I drafted for RVs, trailers, and things of that nature. Since we can't really put a technical violation on it, I did draft a courtesy asking, hey, do you mind moving it? If you can find storage, that would be, ideal to keep our community looking, great, and to make sure that people can see, as well as our PD, they can see past these items of that nature. It's not a violation. It's not saying, hey, we will do this if you don't do it. It's just asking them to do it, with no consequence. I have been getting good feedback. Some people are like, hey, I understand. I have been getting good feedback from these letters going out. Like I say, I can't fully enforce it, but we can act nicely. As far as citations going out this month, one citation did go out for a junk vehicle. I do have about 3 junk vehicles for sure in the community that I'm trying to work with. However, one of our properties on Brighting with a white Land Rover, I actually made contact with a resident. We actually had a good conversation. We assisted. She's willing to get rid of the car any way she can. She just needs help. So working with that resident to try to get rid of, that nuisance. Proactive, we had about 57. Reactive, 5 from, WordPress. Those that I check on that are a violation when they send it in, I do jump on. As far as other things, some of the numbers kind of have dialed down since we don't have certain violations as far as trash cans and things of that nature. Right now, we are, dealing with the tree clearance. That's one of the biggest things I've been hitting since I've been back at work. That and I'm not sure how we're moving forward, but grass over curbs has been a big thing right now. I'm not sure, with the modifications, how we're gonna move forward, but I have been asking people to trim and things of that nature. Been getting good responses, of course. A lot of residents are on set fixed income, so, they only get their grass cut maybe once a week. So that's kind of a teetle-totter thing. So as far as like permits, we've only caught maybe 1 or 2 contractors doing permits with no permits. Everybody has been getting their permits. We've been seeing a lot of foundation work, warranty foundation work being conducted in the past couple of months. With warranties, they are okay, no permits needed. As far as that, it hasn't been any major violations that's popping up or anything like that, just our normal day-to-day. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Are there questions for Chelsea?
I had one question. And it's not on your front page, but it's 12315 Alston. It's a house that's been under construction, I think, for maybe 3 years. It's got broken windows and the door covered with plywood.
So the broken windows that you speak about, I don't see broken windows per se. Now, however, there are windows with film peeling, but as far as like completely broken like glass windows, no, sir.
It's in the door panels, yeah. It's painted, spray painted black on the back, and there's a piece of black plywood behind
So
it.
I can't go in the backyard. I can't
No,
go
this is
past.
the front from the street. I don't go in the yard either. I just
So
noticed.
with the open
It
permit.
also has fascia board rotted gutters. I think you pulled a permit on it recently, or did. I'm just wondering how we're doing. Is that on your radar?
So with the open permit, I cannot violate them. They have an open permit, I cannot send a notice of violation in regards to, let's just say if they have a remodel permit, I cannot touch anything
Okay.
that falls under that permit scope.
Oh,
Now,
I don't know what that permit scope is. That would be my question, is what's the permit scope for that?
it's a
And-
remodel.
Okay,
The front exterior, it's a remodel for front exterior, and a lot of other things. He's wanting to remodel the whole entirety of the home.
okay. Yeah, it's just a house that's been in kind of an eyesore for 3 years, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up. That's why I brought it up tonight.
Yeah, we feel the
It's on my
frustration.
list.
the question you're asking is also a legal one.
Yep.
From a permitting standpoint, because it is a structural permit. And so issuing a citation on a structure that's under permit for renovation is something that administratively, I can't talk to you a lot about it. It really is a legal question.
Okay,
But we feel the frustration as well. I have contacted Mr. Lee a couple of times. Mr. Lee, of course, insists that he's working on it. There has been some work done, but certainly not enough to close out the permit. So we had an inspection on that house. I can't tell you the date because I can't remember it, but there was an inspection that was done on the house recently that failed. And so that was the most recent activity on the house, was a failed inspection with items for re-inspect. I feel the frustration too. It is an open permit. We talked a little bit about it. We may have to visit with the attorney about other options we have with homes that are continuous.
Start that conversation.
Yeah, that are continuously under permit, that, where they come in and they reissue the permit with a new contractor and a new insurance policy and all that stuff, which has happened, I think, more than once on this house.
He's gaming the system. Find a way to fix it.
However, I can tell you that right now in his process, as far as the property, I have been bothering him about the grass. As soon as it gets to 9 inches, you know, because he has that property as well as a vacant property. So at this time, if his property do fall into default with the grass, he's automatic citation. That is the only thing as far as my, you know, my description that I can do legally. So that is where I am pushing the pressure.
Any other questions for Chelsea? All right, thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Our next report will be our city administrator's report with Mr. Nick Hibby.
Thank you, Mayor. Got a few items tonight. First, I want to mention that staff's been hard at work on creating and launching a new website and a new alert system. We're excited about it. As you know, it's part of our swap to Aptigee from Bizopia and Code Red, which were the systems that we're moving away from. This is more of a one-size-fits-all, one-stop shop with Aptigee. We are moving from meadowsplacetx.org to meadowsplacetx.gov. And we're going to be doing that here very soon. And so the plan is to do that around the very end of this month. With that, now I want to emphasize that people who still have .org in their favorites and type it up will still get rerouted to .gov. But the .gov is going to be our official. It'll take a minute for Google to re-index that search engine in order to point everybody to the .gov, but this is part of that transition. With that, a new app we're excited about. We'll be able to download from the App Store, which we were able to work with Apple on, and I was able to actually, we talked to Apple about getting a new app on the App Store, which was an interesting process. And more announcement on that to come. We are going to have a lot more push on the app, which we're excited about. The other thing, as we move from .org to .gov, this is our opportunity to do some email changes. As you know, we've been kind of migrating from titles to names, particularly at the council level, but also some at the staff level. So for example, 2 of you up here have your first name and last name. The other 4 have Alderman 3, Alderman 1, Alderman whatever. So we're actually going to move you all to names, if you're okay with that. Now, both emails will work. Alderman 3 will still work. Alderman 1 will still work. But you can also now give your email out as david.mertens@, and that'll work as well. So we're going to give you both those options. Both of those will hit the same email inbox. At the staff level, some of us are going to be doing the same thing because city administrator at cityofmeadowsplace.org is the worst email address that I think I have ever had. They'll all reroute to your inbox. We'll work with you on that. IT will help move us in that direction. You may have to re-log in, but we'll help you with that. We are not abandoning the old domain. Everything is migrating to .gov, so we're excited about that. Did I miss anything? Okay. Second thing, summer pool schedule. We are heading toward the end of summer, so the pool is going to start only being open on weekends through Labor Day. I think we've got 3 more weekends before Labor Day. So on Saturdays, it'll be open from 11 to 8. On Sundays, it'll be open from noon until 6. So that transition is occurring. And late breaking news, I wanted to let you all know that as of late Friday afternoon, I did get an email from John Peterson, our city engineer. You might recall that a while back, we had a visit from some residents of the townhomes just north of town. And you gave the engineer the authority to go do a little bit of work to get an opinion of probable construction costs on running a water line basically to their front door. He has come back with that opinion. I'm going to email that to you here pretty soon so you can take a look at it. But I'll let you know that we did get that email, and I don't mind sharing with you that the probable construction costs just to run the line, essentially to the city limit line, kind of where the right-of-way is at the townhome complex, is $172,497. That does not include their hookup to the system, so essentially it just brings it to where they are. Then they would be responsible for disconnecting from the city of Houston on the private property side and then connecting to our facilities with the meter and the vault and everything like that. So it would be 172 plus whatever that would cost as well. So we will be sending that to them soon, just giving them that piece of information. Again, all it is an opinion of probable construction costs. We won't know the exact costs unless and until it actually gets bid. So I wanted to give that to you as well. I'll send you the email with that report in the email. And we do intend to share that with the residents that came to that meeting. Mayor, that is my report for tonight.
Are there any questions for Nick?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to open up public comments. This meeting runs a little strangely because it is also our public hearing meeting. So this is our just general public comments about whatever you'd like to share, and then we're going to have another little section, and then I'll open up public comments for our budget for the hearing. So, yes, sir.
Okay. Terry Henley, 12203 Alston Drive. This happened too soon to get it on the agenda. Of course, we have trouble with that. It has to do with TML Region 14 meeting, the 6th and 7th down in Galveston. Excellent meeting. Tia happened to be in the right place at the right time, and we took care of her. She is now the Vice President at TML Region 14. Okay, all right. Yeah. And, all right, yeah, we take care of you. Suzanne Watley is currently the president of TML Region 14. Sally Branson is a council member of Friendswood. She's currently moved up to the board. So if everything goes according to Hoyle, that may happen to her in 2 or 3 years. And anyway, that's the process. It was an excellent meeting. The president of TML was there, Andrea Barfield from Waco, and had some council commissioners from Galveston County. Again, I appreciate the newspaper notices that y'all passed a resolution last time. It's gone to TML, and that'll be on their agenda. 2 commissioners are really pushing that in Galveston County. Their newspaper notice bills is $750,000. So they are going to work on the Senate side, and TML normally works on the House side. So we're going to try to match up a senator and a representative to push this bill through. And they are very confident, and they think they can even get Bettencourt involved. So we've got some commissioners that are really wanting to push this down in Galveston County, and I'm going to work with a couple other senators too, Alvarado and Huffman, and we're going to get something going. So I think it's going to work. But other than that, it was a good meeting, and congratulations to you.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you so much, Terry. Any other public comments? Okay, I'm closing public comments. We are moving on to the next item of our agenda, which is mayor and council comments, and that is going to be Fort Bend Mobility Bond Project number 20211, Bikeway at Meadows Place, Stafford update, and Dorrance Lane Reconstruction Project 3, Phase 3, both updates by Mr. Sagley.
All right. We did receive comments from Stafford regarding the interlocal agreement for the parking lot at the EOC. Need to get those reviewed, see how we incorporate them and coordinate that. We're still struggling to get confirmation from CenterPoint that the design is good. Audrey, I may need their current government relations rep name and bring them involved too. We've been asking for an answer or a meeting for 3-4 months now.
I can reach out to my CenterPoint. I can reach out to my CenterPoint person.
Okay, and just say, hey, we need some help
Yeah.
to get a meeting, get an answer on this so we can finalize the design. Any questions on the bike project? Okay. Dorrance Lane is still in progress. Not a whole lot new on that since last month. They should finish design before the end of the year. It'll be questionable on whether we can go to bid. We need to look at what the finances will be once we get to that point. So, any questions on Dorrance?
All right, thank you. We are going to start our public hearing section of this big budget meeting. The city council will hold a public hearing to hear any and all persons desiring to be heard concerning the City of Meadows Place, Texas municipal budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. I am opening the public hearing at 7:07. Anybody wanting to come comment about the budget? Remember, this is a public hearing, so it can't be a conversation back and forth.
I've done it a time or two, okay. Again, Terry Henley, 12203 Alston Drive. If I understand the proposed tax rate, that's gonna be, looks like, raise the Avalon property taxes from last year to this coming year by $500,000 or 10.92%. And I understand why. Nick and I have talked about it 2 or 3 times. Fire protection was a major issue, and seemed like that was over 300,000. TMRS is another one that's really jacked it up. And a quick look at the budget says that you pretty much held most of the line items except for some of these items and some maintenance items. So the question, I did have a question though. Is monies in there to continue to fund our infrastructure fund? And that's one thing that I want to make sure that's there.
Yes, sir.
I'm in favor of that kind of proposed budget, as long as money is there for infrastructure, so we
There
can
is.
continue
We
that
made
project.
sure.
Okay. Other than that, that's all the comments I have. Thanks.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other comments about our public budget, about our budget?
I'm Mike Basler, 11842 Mulholland. First of all, if you're going to have a discussion on the budget, you didn't bring a copy of the budget with you to distribute to any of us. And I think you need to do that if you're going to have a hearing on a budget. Back in 2003, the city council met that year, and they raised the exemption for people over 65 from $3,000 to $30,000. That was in 2003, 23 years ago. And it hasn't been touched since. Was there any kind of discussion about raising that exemption for this budget to make it easier on people over 65?
Remember, this is a hearing. We're not supposed to go back and forth, but yes, this is something we discuss every year, and you and I have discussed this at length.
Do what?
Yes, this has been discussed every budget cycle I've been here.
I was not available to go to some of these meetings this year because of personal stuff that I had to do. So you're not going to raise it,
No, sir, not this year.
or 23 years in advance. I think that that needs to be raised. When it was raised in 2003, I was not 65 at that time,
Right.
but I was in favor of it because I knew someday I would get there, and I did. And I think we need to raise that because of the senior citizens of Meadows Place. We've done our share, and we need to get the tax breaks to be able to live on fixed incomes and what we have right now. And I know there's a lot of elderly people in the Meadows Place. There's probably around 30%, which is quite a few. And I think we need to recognize those people, not as just as another taxpayer. The other thing, you got to get your priorities correct. The major priority in the budget to me is the police department and the safety of our community. Back in, whenever we first became a city, Mayor, the chief of police was Paul Hughes. I don't know if y'all remember Paul, late Paul Hughes. He's the one that set it up, and he's the one that got the visibility of the police department. And it's very highly visible. And at that time, we were considered the second safest city in Fort Bend County. The first one being Needville, which is way out in the sticks. But, and that has continued to this day. I don't know what we're ranking today. But that has to be your number one priority. And I think the chief is doing a good job. The other thing about some of the amenities that you're doing, as you're probably aware, I'm totally against the nature center. I've asked for how many residents actually use that nature center during the year. I have got no response. And particularly probably 90% of the activities that is done in that nature center could be done at the rec center. And the nature center is a liability. And we'd like to get that off of our budget. But that's about all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Would anybody else like to comment on the budget? I'm closing this public hearing at 7:14. Now I'm going to open discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2026-16, approving and adopting the City of Meadows Place, Texas municipal budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. I'm going to remind council that we proposed $5,076,670 budget. That number has been adjusted. I think you are all on emails with Anna Maria. That number has been to be adopted is $5,074,700 for the current ad valorem budget. There was a little bit of a discrepancy, and we wanted to make sure that we covered it. It needed to be 500,000, and it was like 503,000. So that's that difference. So this item is open for discussion and consideration. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just for the public, as Terry did say, our cost of fire protection service with the city of Stafford is going from, I think, $325,000 a year to around $700,000 a year. That was a pretty big hit for us this year. They have moved from a volunteer fire department to a full-time fire department. Our contract that is expiring at the end of this year did not recognize that. We've dropped from about 14% of their budget to about 6%, and the new contract will push us back to 14% of their budget, which is about our call volume for the Stafford Fire Department. Beyond that, we are getting hit pretty hard with TMRS, which is our pension fund contribution. It is close to double what it was last year, and those two are probably 80–90% of our increased cost on the budget this year.
Any other thoughts, council? Okay, I have to take a record vote for the next three things, so we're gonna start with this one. I will now call upon each council member by name and take the record vote. Once your name is called, answer aye to signify your approval of the motion, or nay to signify your disapproval. Alderman Merton, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Baker, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Stagley, state your vote. Alderman Kopczynski, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Merkley, state your vote.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, moving on to the next item. City Council will now hold a public hearing to hear any and all persons desiring to be heard concerning the 2026 tax year proposed property tax rate for the City of Meadows Place. At 7:17, this public hearing is open. Would you like to come to the podium? Okay. Come on, Terry.
One comment, okay? I might as well.
You might as well. You're here.
Is the tax rate you're getting ready to set at, going to bring in over 500,000? And question, I didn't get it. Yeah, the infrastructure fund is included in that. How much is it going to be? What's the approximate number? That's all.
It was the same number we had last year.
Roughly the same, but I think I heard you say over 500. It's definitely not over 500.
It's not over five?
No,
No, sir.
because There's
No, sir.
nothing in the budget that shows, that kind of, okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be somewhere
We're
close
sticking,
to five.
We're not
Okay.
going to bust that de minimis.
We will not.
So I think, make sure you're answering Terry's question. Your question is how much is going to infrastructure?
Fund.
So that's a different question. You were answering the de minimis question.
This has to do with the infrastructure fund, huh?
Okay.
And you're already exceeding the tax rate that, that could get a recall, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
But, I understand all that, but I was just curious as to how much was going into the
I can't give you an exact
infrastructure
amount.
fund.
It is roughly
That's
the
all.
same. Do you have an idea, Anna Maria?
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
It's in red. Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I was gonna, okay. So, Mr. Henley, do you remember when we went from 280 to 480 on the EDC transfer in? It's also not a tax rate question. It's a budget question.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Terry. At 7:20, this public hearing is closed. Did you get that? All right, now I'm going to open discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2026-17, providing a property tax rate for the levy and a collection of ad valorem taxes by the City of Meadows Place, Texas for the year 2026. Okay, remember, everybody's got this paper in front of them with the series of tax rates. The one at the top is what we proposed. That one was the 503,000, which we do not want we're not going to go with that one. The one that is highlighted is the number that gets us to that $500,000 limit. So any number, that highlighted one or below, is an acceptable.
Where's our language? We have specific language we have to use?
We do, it says, option one, I can read it now, right? Option one, to approve ordinance 2026-17, providing that the property tax be increased by the adoption of tax rate of, and then we put in the tax rate, which is effectively a blank increase, which is on your sheet that we can use, increase in the tax rate for the levy and collection of ad valorem taxes by the city of Meadows Place, Texas for the year 2026. If you want to use this to make the motion, you are welcome to. I'll just need it back so I can record the vote.
Well, is everybody done with their discussion?
Yes, we need to discuss.
I think we've decided on which tax rate we're gonna go with, right? The highlighted one? Is there anybody that is thinking something different?
No, I think there's been lots of discussion, and with the current hits to the budget and kind of where we are, I think we're all on the same page.
So what's the difference between option one and option two here?
It'll be option one.
Okay. Is everyone ready? I move to approve ordinance number 2026-17, providing that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.991290, which is effectively a 5.05% increase in the tax rate for the levy and collection of ad valorem taxes by the city of Meadows Place, Texas for the year 2026.
Thank you. Oh, we need a second. I have a second. I will now call upon each council member by name to take the record vote. Once your name is called, say aye to signify your approval of the motion, or nay to signify your disapproval. Alderman Merton, state your vote. Aye. Alderman Baker, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Stagley, state your vote. Alderman Kupczynski, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Merkley, state your vote.
Aye.
Motion carried. There you go. Okay, that moves us on to our regular agenda. We have one more record vote we need to take with item number one. Agenda item number one states conduct a separate vote to ratify the property tax increase reflected in the City of Meadows Place, Texas municipal budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. Is there any discussion? This is just because we had to change it because of the numbers.
Move to approve, or is there special?
There's no special language for this one. I do have to do a record vote. To ratify the property tax increase of 10.93, is it 10 point, it's 10.93? Okay, 10.93% reflected in the municipal budget for fiscal year 2026-2027, adopted on August 17th, 2026. I will now call upon each alderman by name to take the record vote. Once your name is called, say aye to signify your approval of the motion, or nay to signify your disapproval. Alderman Merton, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Baker, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Stagley, state your vote. Alderman Kupczynski, state your vote.
Aye.
Alderman Merkley, state your vote.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, moves us on to agenda item number 2, discussion and consideration regarding ordinance number 2026-18, amending the general fund budget for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, decreasing municipal courts line item salaries and benefits in the amount of $28,080, and increase the police department line item salaries and benefits in the amount of $30,400 $466 to fund the full-time administrative assistant position through the transfer and reallocation of existed budgeted funds. Remember, this is the end of the year, so we've got a few of these budget amendments that we need to make.
Make a motion, we approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you for putting them together.
Yeah, and I want to mention that Jackie is in the audience tonight. She did go ahead and start after an interview process across the Holland Police Department. I understand she's doing very well, and look at that, she's amongst the ranks now, so she's fitting in very well.
Yes, sir.
My apologies for having not mentioned earlier about our newest addition, our very first ever administrative assistant that we're currently sharing with utilities, but are excited to have. She has already hit the ground running, so thank you very much for making that happen.
Absolutely. And a very personal thanks to council as well for this. This is a position I've been really trying to move forward for almost a year now. So I am very, very, very excited that it's happened.
And I also made sure to update Chief Stewart.
Thank you, sir. Yep.
The numbers need to match? Okay.
Was it supposed to be 9.2?
No, it's
The 30,400.
466, yeah.
So it should say the court amount should match. On my paper, it does not. So which one? It should be 30. Can I reread it with the correct numbers? Okay, on my paper, it says court is 28, and then, do I have an old? This one was the one sitting right here.
That's odd.
That is,
I would say reread it,
I'll reread it and reopen.
redo both the motion and the vote.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna work from this one. Is that okay?
This is old.
It says mayor copy on the front, and it was on the desk.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and redo item number 2, discussion and consideration, still congratulations, Jackie, and thank you, Police Department. Discussion and consideration regarding ordinance number 2026-18, amending the general fund budget for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, decreasing line item 100,030,510,100, municipal court salaries and benefits in the amount of $30,466 and increase line item 100,050,510,100 police department salaries and benefits in the amount of $30,466 to fund the full-time administrative assistant position. I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to agenda item number 3, discussion and consideration regarding ordinance number 2026-19, amending the utility fund budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, increasing line item 300,047,526,000, sludge haul box of $85,000 for sludge removal in the utility sewer. I think we've discussed sludge many times.
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Before we move on.
Yes.
Anna Maria, do we need a companion to this, reducing the amount for the wastewater treatment plant reconstruction, or because that was under capital improvements, we don't need to do it? Okay. Okay.
New sludge.
For those that don't know, we actually decided to haul the sludge ourselves rather than let our contractor do it that was rehabbing the wastewater treatment plant, and it saved us several $100,000 doing it that way.
We voted on that one, yes? Okay, great. Agenda item number 4, discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2026-20, amending the general fund budget for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, increasing line item 100060565,001, mowing and landscaping, $34,000 for tree removal, stump grinding, and tree trimming in the city. Nick reminded me earlier, this is something we do about every other year to maintain the city's trees. Are there any questions or discussion?
Question, is this the same 243 trees that were done previously, or is it a smaller amount or more, or?
That would be for Colleen.
Can you hear me? It is still 243 trees, but some have died off, and then we replanted other trees. And then also some have grown into maturity that we were previously trimming. So every year or every other year, it's a variety of different ones. But yes, it's the same locations, all the perimeters of the city, and then all the parks. You're welcome.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 5, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2026-16, authorizing advertisement for sealed competitive bids for concrete work within the city of Meadows Place.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. This is on an annual basis. Thank you. We do. We have to pick a contractor.
There seems to be confusion of what we're doing. Under state law, we do have to go out for bids every few years, and you can't just select a contractor and go with them. It has to be bid out, and this is just something that comes up periodically.
I will say that we bid this about 5 years ago, and that contract is coming to an end. Otherwise, we wouldn't want to go out for bid necessarily. But we are going to bring this to you in September, in the September meeting, because we'd like to try and get these contracts in around October 1. It's just a good time to remember to rebid all these things. And so we want to try and get all these on the schedule, which is why you also see the next one in a similar time track. And I do want to thank Alderman Stagley for helping us 5 years ago come up with a good way to bid this on kind of a unit price bid, because I was on the struggle bus trying to figure out how to bid concrete. So thank you.
I believe I have a motion and a second. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Motion any opposed? No. Motion carries. Agenda item number 6, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2026-17, authorizing advertisement for sealed competitive bids for landscape and lawn maintenance within the city of Meadows Place. This is a similar time frame. I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 7, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2026-18, authorizing the Public Works Director to submit a grant application for the smart meter upgrade. This one has to be very specific language as well, right? For the grant application?
Yes, I've got it.
Okay.
This is a little awkward, but whoever's making the motion on this, for the grant purposes, in order to get the exact language in the minutes, I'm going to ask you to read what's on this piece of paper so that we can record it specifically the way they want it. So if you just start with 2.5, that's what you want to make a motion to approve.
I move the city of Meadows Place. I move for resolution 2026-18 grant application information, $2.5 million to replace all city water meters and include a SCADA system. Current smart meters are approaching end of life. So the city is applying to Texas Water Development Board for the Water Supply and Infrastructure Grant per House Bill 500 TWDB-WSIG, grant per House Bill 500, TWDB-0174.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there any discussion?
No.
All right, with a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to agenda item number 8. This is discussion regarding the City of Meadows Place Code of Ordinance, Section 91, garbage, trash, and weeds nuances. We have a representative from Randall Law Office here. This is Riley McKay. She is an Aggie. She finished law school in New Orleans, and she is ready to talk to us about Chapter 91. We have a red line version in front of us, so any and all questions can be directed to Riley. She is well-versed on our Chapter 91 code.
Ms. Riley, please take it away.
Hello, I'm ready for any and all questions. We just kind of went through Chapter 91 and went through according to areas that had been prior flagged, areas that the mayor had commented on, and kind of did an overhaul. And if y'all have any questions, please just let me know.
So if I can frame it a little bit for council, you'll notice that the definition section does redefine a lot of what we talk about in the code book. A lot of those redefinitions, well, I'm not gonna speak for our attorney, but go ahead.
So they come from statute and code provisions, so we're just making sure that we're keeping in line with the statute and code provisions that do define those, because before we were lacking, there were little things here and there that were misaligned, and so we just went ahead and cleaned everything up there.
So as I mentioned in my email, a lot of what I think you're gonna see in here points back to state law. And so you'll see a lot of things, instead of going through a long definition, it simply says, see state code X, and that kind of points you to the definitions of certain things, and you'll see that throughout the code book.
Council, as we've discussed before, the state basically has been taking away a city's ability to, I guess, monitor or go after anything that is considered aesthetic. We are being limited to things that are truly health and safety. Therefore, we are losing some things out of our code book. We will need to see if and how to address that going forward. Because if the city can't do it, either it's not going to happen, or an HOA would need to be redeveloped. The city cannot, to my understanding, the city cannot initiate an HOA. That would have to come from the citizens if they believe it is a concern. So things like paint color, things like automobile covers, those are things that we cannot address anymore.
Things like trash cans visible from the street.
And so if your neighbor wants to paint his house white with an American flag on the garage door and get paint all over your car, there's not much we can do about it. If he wants to do it pink with purple polka dots, there's not much we can do about it. So the citizens are gonna have to decide whether those are issues they want to take up for themselves.
One question, I think I sent it to Nick, and I had for you, Riley, and that is under the, I think it's 91.035 nuisances declared under its weeds and offensive conditions. one of the things that I would like to see if you can wordsmith it or add it, and I'm even willing to take it a little bit past maybe where would be neutral, and that's covering grass over the curb and sidewalk, meaning that if the sidewalk is covered and it's got a crack in it, somebody could trip. I'm looking at its safety. So I'm taking it back to the safety issue, which is the 9-inch weeds. Is there a way to word that in?
So that kind of goes back into premises defects rather than public health and safety. So that's a defect more so than tailoring things to protect that. And so going with the edging and things over, it goes back to the whole HOA regulation of aesthetics and more so the character of the neighborhood, more so than the health and safety that the weed provisions are seeking to do with the harborage of rodents, other uncleanly matter, things of that sort.
Okay, so safety hazard on the street, the curb, that's not something the city can control?
That's a premises defect. So they're two different things, once again, of concern, but they go about it in different ways. You can't conflate the two.
I know when I looked at the definition of what's considered property, it's when it's I guess facing the street and it's connected in a public way, but that still doesn't put it under the jurisdiction of.
No, sir. It's still regulating aesthetics rather than doing health, safety, public welfare, the way that is currently framed.
So we can regulate having a hole, and we can regulate having a puddle, but we can't regulate having weeds that cover a hole or a puddle?
We are regulating weeds and other uncleanly matter in the way in which we are powered to. You know, as Rick had said earlier, there's a lot of things that general law cities can't do because we're looking for those explicit grants of power, and so we're trying to operate as best we can within that confined power. So no.
So home rule city would be able to make an amendment to that, general rule city cannot?
I'm not sure home rule would be the vessel for this particular thing. Home rule would definitely open some doors that are shut to us currently as a general law city. I'm not sure aesthetics is going to be one of those things.
I'm trying to make the argument on a safety issue, and that's to me.
And I mean, once again, that's council's decision for how they would like to proceed.
So, and again, part of my concern is, and I think Chelsea even said it, if we're giving warnings and we're not really issuing citations, it's never going to go to a court to challenge the legality. I'm trying to get it where we have.
And so it's still just best practice, so it's saving us money up front to spend the time doing the legal review and going through everything, and then on the back end, I apologize, on the back end, we're not dealing with anything, we're not dealing with, I know you said you don't typically give citations, but if things were to be appealed and other things, we're not dealing with that on the back end. So you're saving yourself on the front end by doing this and complying with things the correct way, so that way you're not paying for it on the back end.
The problem is the city looks like crap because of it.
And council may be willing to push the envelope and make somebody take us to court in order to try to preserve the presentation of the city.
And that is totally your decision as a council. If that is what you decide to do, that is what you decide to do.
Okay.
So what we have in front of us is the attorney's recommended based on state law.
Yes.
Council needs to decide whether we're going to push that envelope a little bit. What I would like to know is, if we do, where do we push, and then maybe have them determine whether there's any actual case law. There's differences between, well, you might get sued versus case law where this has already been decided by a court.
I'm good moving forward with that, yeah.
And so what is our goal here? Just to receive this and then we can take some time to review it?
Yeah, there's no vote tonight on accepting anything. It's a review. It's the first chance we've had to review. We got this on, I think, Friday.
Last questions.
Yeah, so it's just a chance to absorb it and then come back with any commentary that you might, based on the city attorney's reviews.
Recommendations.
I think it does give us more, having it He said stripped out of some of the other things. The junk vehicles are still there. There are still some things that we can
Yes,
enforce.
junk
and so
vehicles is still there.
those are cleaned up, and a lot of the things that are still on the books are now code violations that have statute behind it. I'm still looking for, how do we make this city appearance look in a way that's doing, and one of the solutions is an HOA. It's just, that's not the city to do it.
The
That's-
city cannot, right. One of the solutions is an HOA. But that would have to be citizen-driven.
And the citizens could then decide how strict or what issues the HOA can and should look at. It is not like they have to create one like a Sienna or like a Fulshire Lakes that has this
And there
big,
are-
expensive.
Yeah, and one of the questions I had, obviously, we've looked at some of the deed restrictions that were put in place when the property was bought and sold here in Meadows Place. Those particular deed restrictions are not enforceable by the city. They would be by, I assume, an HOA.
Yes.
If they adopted those same provisions,
Okay.
I would say that some of those provisions are antiquated, and an HOA, if it is reconstituted,
Have to review it.
look at modern language. You know, the city cannot legislate backyard chickens, an HOA can. You know, is that a concern to the residents? Is that not a concern? How many pets can you have? Things of that nature. HOAs have a reputation of overreaching, and so it'd be up to the citizens to determine what they want that HOA to look like. I don't want an HOA like Fulshire Lakes, where it's $1,500 a year.
No one does.
However, something that could help keep some of the aesthetic features, you know, I don't necessarily want somebody to tell me what color I can paint my house. However, I do keep it, you know, in neutral tones. I'm not painting it pink or purple or whatever. But right now, there's a chance somebody could do that.
And the city is very limited in our ability to respond. I really liked the way Ms. McKay explained doing this work here and now. This is difficult work. We spent an entire Saturday morning going through this, and then they've spent months or weeks and weeks and weeks looking over it for us as well. We are wanting to do this on the front end. Many, many, many laws have changed in the time between this code being written and today. And it is really important that we are, like, our code book is up to date. I think we have another chapter coming up that we need to schedule a workshop over so that we can pass that off to Randall Law Office. But we don't have to have a vote on this today. But this is just for us to receive it. Are there any other questions for Riley this evening?
I'm just impressed that we were able to keep the things, so many of the things in here. So thank you, using whatever state statutes we can, because we still have some good powers that will help make our city look better. Though I love the idea of the grass over the curbs, however, to make that happen, because that's a gripe of mine.
Well, and once again, council can decide to put it in place, then the resident could then go to court, see what the judge says. If the judge does enforce it, then they've got, I think that goes to district court if they want to appeal.
My concern with that is how it affects Ms. Thomas's license. That is my concern. If council is knowingly asking our code enforcement officer to push the line on something that her licensure says is not within our power to uphold, that's my biggest concern.
That would be something that we could find out from our attorney as far as the state regulations go, and how those would be either adjusted or amended or looked at based on the fact of our municipal code that we passed as a government body. Knowing that there are gray areas in a lot of these, and they don't usually get decided until there is a case law doing it. So that would be one where I'd be willing to have our attorney look at that and say, if you do this, you're it's the same thing of issuing tickets out on for a certain, within a certain speed range. There are laws that say yes, but there are times when we say, hey, we're going to give you a warning. And it's similar to what we're talking about here. We don't want people racing through meadows. We also don't want houses to look unkept. The fact that we can keep tree stumps, that's aesthetics to me, but we can now enforce tree stumps.
It's with the harborage of dead and decaying material and other rodents that come into it. So it's a different take on it. So once again, it's that division of public health and safety versus
Right.
what is more so aesthetically pleasing.
Right. And that's what I'm asking us to continue in council and to talk about those things. So I'm grateful that we've got this, and I'll echo what Kurt said. There's a lot that's left. We were worried that we were going to lose it all. So thank you.
And I have a quick question on the 9 inches of the grass. Is that 9 inches tall or 9 inches in length, where if the grass grows over the curb, but if you stretch it out and measure it, it's 9 inches? So it's 9 inches in height?
That's what the state codes reference, that a municipality can only reference in height. It does not give the municipality the reference in width.
So I have a feeling I'm going to be sending, if you guys are okay with this, our city attorney a clip of this very video to review. Yeah. I just want to make sure staff has some good clarity on where to go from here. I've heard council's desire on edging and weeding. I've certainly gotten my own letters from my HOA saying I need to go weed my flower bed, and we certainly do it. But I guess the question I have is, what would our next step be with this desire at the council level? Do you want the city attorney's opinion in writing? Or do you want to go ahead and ask the city attorney to draft an ordinance that reflects edging with a recommendation that you can vote on? Because we need to know what the next step is on this.
That's what I would, personally, that would be my preference, to get that written in and have that, again, match it against municipal, to make sure that if it becomes our municipal ordinance, that it is something that we have, and that I would like that to be crafted as I said, wordsmith, however it needs to be, knowing that there's a gray area there based on sanitation versus whatever we use for tree stumps or other.
Yeah, because I think I told you, I actually was it was a very compelling argument that stringers and grass that, grows into sidewalks can hide a hole or hide a trip hazard. I thought that was a very good point. I guess the question from staff's level is, do you want us to present you an ordinance that clarifies that now, or do you want to continue down the path of asking the city attorney to look at case law and look a little further into this?
I'd say give council a couple weeks to review what's been presented, and whether we take it up at the next meeting or council just emails you individually and gives you what their feeling is, and then you can kind of go from there.
So the direction is for us to digest the information, and then we'll go from
I would say within 2 weeks, give any comments back to staff.
Does that sound reasonable, Council?
Because, we may end up with conflicting comments, and then staff's gonna have to come back and say, okay, we need to do this in workshop, so you guys can talk to each other and work out these conflicts of opinion.
Does that give you the direction you need?
In 2 weeks it will.
This is a new one for me.
Are there any other questions for Riley? I think we're going to need some time.
Thank you all so much for having me and listening to me.
We don't need any, no, there's no action on this one. Okay. Council, is everybody ready to move on to a consent agenda? Okay. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is consent agenda, we are going to consider approval of the minutes held as follows: July 28, 2026, City Council regular meeting, August 6, 2026, City Council special meeting. I have a motion
Second?
and a second. Tia is seconding everything tonight.
Here.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are going to recess our regular session, recess regular session to convene into executive session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code Section 551.074, personnel matters. So we're moving into executive session. Cameron, are we good? Okay. I, Audrey St. Germain, hereby adjourn executive session and reconvene into open session at 9:29 p.m. No official action was taken, and if a consensus was reached regarding any of the above issues, any subsequent action as a result of this executive session will be taken and recorded in open session. That is moving on from letter K to letter L, reconvene, discuss, and take appropriate action on items discussed in executive session. And I'm going to kick it to Rick.
I move that we authorize the mayor and city manager, city administrator to begin negotiations with Jack Ashton as our permanent chief and EOC director.
Second.
We got to vote. We got to vote. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Well, thank you. Certainly no need to stand, but thank you. As I had mentioned in the last council meeting, I was humbled by the opportunity to be the interim. And I somehow have been humbled even more a second time, both by the confidence that the mayor and council has just voiced in me in negotiating the position, but also from the guys and gals that make up the Meadows Place Police Department, that the fact that they're standing with me is just amazing. I've said this now a couple of times, that in all my time here, this is the first time that the department has come together as a whole on their own to stand for any cause. So I can't say thank you enough to all of you for coming and staying. And I am prepared to enter into said negotiations at any moment in time. But thank you.
Thank you. All right, with no further business to discuss, this meeting is adjourned.